Hey, good morning to you all. Hope you're off to a great May 1st, 2022. The time's approximately about 7:27 where I'm at Eastern Time Zone. This is your boy Daryl. Wanted to wish you off to a great start of your day and your week, and also your May 2022. Whatever you may have encountered this year so far, whether it be the hardest year of your life, or perhaps maybe it's been one of the best years of your life for these previous 4 months. It is my fervent hope and trust that we continue to have much more growth, much more abundance and prosperity in our lives, more joy, more peace, more harmony than we can ever imagine. The purpose of these messages is really just to encourage and inspire hope with someone out there, particularly men, so that we can become better fathers, so that we can also produce better children. Better fathers, better children equal a better society, in my humble opinion. And it's been proven time and time again throughout the course of history. For this particular conversation, I just want to share this expression that I heard years ago called making the beast with two backs. Making the beast with two backs. Now, Daryl, what the fuck do you mean by making the beast with two backs? Most of us may not have heard of that expression because it dates back to the 12th century. It dates back to when Shakespeare wrote his play Othello. I believe in Act 1, Scene 1, if I'm correct in my studies, there was a scene where there was a young lady and this particular person they referred to as the Moor were making the beast with two backs, which was coined back then as an expression for having sex. So for us men out there, I want us to really take a look at why we have the desires that we have, not only for sex, but also the psychological reasons why we also desire it. Are we desiring sex because we actually longing for love? Are we desiring sex simply because we longing for lust? Perhaps maybe you also come from a different place when it comes to the word sex or making the beast with two backs. Maybe you come from a place of pain, a place of suffering, and that's how you would introduce to something that can really be so beautiful when done in a mutually satisfying and a healthy way, not only physically but emotionally, and I believe also spiritually for those who really connect on a deeper level. So I'll just read through you some of the information that I've uncovered in my research with the hopes that it helps us men really address some of our own desires and urges, and why we may have some of the things that we may have. Like I said, there's no right or wrong to this. If perhaps you may feel even in yourself that some of your desires may not have been based on the right foundation, there are solutions out there, brothers. It's important for us to open up the dialogue and communication so that we can begin to share with one another to make our lives better. Don't feel because you have the certain desires you have that all of a sudden you're the only person in the world who's going through what you're going through. I assure you that someone else that's probably going through something, if not even worse, we may possibly perceive of ourselves and our own problems and challenges. So hopefully this information serves some encouragement. Of course, feel free to leave any comments you may have at the end so we can work together and really improve our lives for the better. So I took this first piece of information out of this article called BetterHelp.com. That's BetterHelp.com. It was dated for April 5th, the year 2022, and it was written by Mary Elizabeth Dean and medically reviewed by Dr. Natalie Feinblatt, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And in the article it states that the state that love and sex are two different things with varying opinions in society on how they should connect. And needless to say, we can all identify with that. Even if you're currently with someone right now, you may have certain desires that may be slightly different than even your partner. So there are varying different ways we think about sex and making the beast with two backs. It's important more so that the dialogue and communication be clear to those partners so that we can avoid any undue hurt and undue consequences from those urges and desires. The other thing I'd like to mention here, it talks about 7 different reasons why sometimes we may even look at love and sex. Love and sexual desire come from the same place for some people. They're not separate, they're actually interlinked. Love makes sex more fulfilling for some. I think that's important for us fellas as we consider the partners we're with and the reason why they desire certain things versus the reason why we desire certain things. I think it's very important to be on the same path and the same playing field if we really to make it as best possible for each person involved. Love adds trust and comfort. Sex is more meaningful with love, and this can tie into even what some may refer to as Maslow's hierarchy of needs for that particular partner. The need for safety, security, belonging, the desire to want to feel wanted. Whatever that may be for that person, we have to really take a look at that and not just think about ourselves selfishly, fellas, in the midst of our own desires and urges. People will try unsuccessfully to fill voids through this making the beast with two backs. We all know, if not ourselves, we have used certain things in our lives to fill voids in our life because other areas of our life may have felt empty, or we desire them to be something more than what they were at that moment. Don't give up hope on yourself. Don't give up hope on the situation. I believe there's someone out there for everyone. It's important for our hearts and our minds and our foundation to be placed in the right location and upon solid ground, so that when we meet that person in our life, we can be ready for them, and they can also be ready for us. Marriages without sex oftentimes struggle and fail. That's simply because of the deep longing for intimacy between those persons involved. Lastly, sex in a loving relationship deepens the feelings of love. Sex in a loving relationship deepens the feelings of love. I've heard from many couples who have been together for 20, 30, 40 years that the longer they're together, the more they grow in love with one another. Now, I know every person, and particularly every man, I must say, at least from my social circle, will not have sex because of love. That's not the point of this. It's not to really encourage someone to do something, but really to bring that awareness so that we can understand that for some many partners that we've encountered, sex and love are hand in hand. So we have to be mindful of that, and whatever we may be in our own process, whether it be strictly on a lustful nature, or whether it be more so because we're trying to build towards something deeper and more meaningful. Keep the communication open, be honest, be transparent, keep it 100. And I think we as men can really not only elevate our own lives and really our own desires to another level, but have deeper and satisfying, more meaningful relationships, whether it be on a lustful level, which is going to happen regardless, or on the love level that so many of us may desire as well. So hopefully this information serves as a little encouragement for someone out there. If you ever question why you've thought about some of the things you just thought about, or if you just feel maybe that the desires you have or maybe misplaced and that you're the only person in the world that has the desires. You're not, I trust you're not. There's someone out there that shares some of the same in common experiences you have and same common desires. It's important for us to just keep the communication open, like I said once again. So stay tuned for part 2. Feel free to leave any comments you may have. This is your boy Daryl.